Can you please tell us what production design is? And
Yes.
okay,
Yeah. So what production design is that when you watch a film, the sets that you see, the entire visual creation that you tend to not notice, but you also feel like, for example, if you're watching a period film and it's set in the 1970s or the 1980s, it just take like the costumes and the sets and everything. It just takes you or transform that transforms. It just
so
transports you to a certain place. So that plays a very major role to understand where and why the film and like where it's taking place.
so it's the job of the production designer to determine the costumes as well as how this set looks like.
No, only the set looks like.
Only what the
Only the
set
set.
looks like. So
Yeah,
costumes.
only what the set
So
looks.
who handles the
Is
costumes
it
side of the thing in movies and stuff?
So costumes is a completely different department altogether. So when you make a film, it's almost like 200 to 300 people working on this, like on one film.
Hmm.
And you have a different department for every single thing that you need. Like you want really good coffee made, you have an entire department that takes care of
Yeah, that's something that people don't notice. Whenever somebody
it.
talks
Yeah,
about a movie that's releasing, people are like, uh, "This actor's acting in it. Hey, Salman is acting or Ritik is acting. We wanna go watch the movie for Ritik or Salman. Dude, they
yeah,
perform so good. But you watch the set. Oh my god, that looks so good. That was worth it. Like
yeah,
the whole point will be about the actors, but people don't really
yeah,
notice the amount of people slash workers they put in to making that
yeah.
movie. So how much time
Correct.
does it take for somebody to set up this thing, a frame, a shot?
It really depends on what we're building, how we're shooting it, and like how much time is given to the art department to create it as well. Like what a schedule looks like. So, for example, if you watch something like Superman or something, really it's graphic work that happens like you shoot it with a green screen and then it's all done later in post. But then if you have a lot of things that needs to be built, it can sometimes take like a week or like it depends. It really depends on the size of the scale and what kind of set you want to like create.
So
But it takes an ample amount of time.
it takes an ample amount of time, but is there something like who allots this work to the production designer? Like who's responsible for giving work to the production designer? Does the director give
Okay.
it or does the producer?
Yeah. So the director, the cinematographer, and the producers, they all sit together and they decide. So director has a certain vision as to, okay, this is what we want, and maybe this is the red vase that we want to use because it maybe has a metaphorical meaning later in one of the scenes, and that is the reason we want a vase that looks exactly like this from this time period and has to have a certain meaning behind it or a certain painting on top of it. So then, the vision comes from the director's perspective, and then you have the cinematographer explaining maybe, we instead of red, maybe we could try some other color because that might look better on screen, or like anything randomly like that. And not randomly, sorry, it's not random. It's coming straight from the idea, so it's not random. And then the production designer will step in and be like, you know what, hey, with the red vase, why don't we use these flowers and like, why don't we make it more appealing uh, to the viewer or to the audience? And that's how the entire all the departments work together, and that's how the final output comes.